All right, all right. We are back in beautiful Belmont, New Jersey at the Grit Won't Quit podcast studio. And I have a very special guest on, someone I've known for probably 15 years when I first moved to New Jersey. I have Jim Gillick with me from the Boy Scouts. And
hi, how are you? Welcome, Tom.
Scouting organization.
Yes,
it's not just the Boy Scouts
me.
anymore.
Scouting America.
Scouting America. So, Jim, you've been the executive director for
over a dozen years.
Over a dozen years. We met through Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Ocean County. That's where I was a big brother for the last. I've been a big brother to a young man who just started college. So he was about.
And I think got his Eagle Scout. Actually, didn't he? He was in Scouts for a number of years. Did he ever go all the way through?
That I'd have to get it.
I'll
find that out. I'll get that answered, but I am not sure. But he's now a freshman in college. So
that's fantastic.
It's crazy, right?
That's amazing.
So I met you through there and through the Big Brothers, but you've been running a great organization for a dozen years.
Thank you.
And your area of scouting is on the Jersey Shore.
So scouting at the Jersey Shore Council basically covers from Point Pleasant down to Ocean City. So it's all of Ocean.
A big area.
It's a long strip of the Jersey Shore. Yeah. It's basically, like I said, all of Atlantic and Ocean counties. It goes down to Cape May, Ocean City, so a little bit of Cape May County.
Oh, wow.
As well. And technically, I think a hair of Burlington.
How many scouts between the young Cub Scouts, the Boy Scouts, everybody? What's your overall
ballpark? About 2,500.
2,500
children. Probably 2,500 children that
great.
will serve in a given year, split up between Ocean and Atlantic County, and starting to grow. It's been down the last couple of years.
Well, I mean, you had some challenges.
Yeah, COVID. I mean, COVID was a real big challenge, I think, for a lot of us, obviously. But 90% of our recruitment, especially in the fall, is done through schools, and our ability to get flyers into the schools. In some cases, we're able to do presentations to the kids and get them fired up and come on out. And with a year and a half shifting to in-home learning, it became very difficult.
Otherwise, you have to go door to door and do your dog and pony show.
Social, it's funny how you try and get social media, word of mouth, other things,
sure.
Which is ironic for an outdoor program, which is one of the only things everybody was encouraging. Come on out,
So, but now, so you saw a dip during the COVID time, but now people are back to
re-engaging, getting involved and recognizing as people started to kind of get back into the swing of things, we were able to rebuild, and we have a lot of programs that we're restarting in with certain elementary schools or certain parts of town, in particularly our Lion and Tiger Cub, which are our kindergarten and first year programs.
Okay.
Those we're seeing great growth in our Cub Scout programs, which we hope throughout the fall we're shooting for 7% growth over last year.
That'd be great.
Which is they've got a great plan in place. Our volunteers are so excited and engaged. Right now, hopefully parents are running into them at parents' nights and back to school nights, and we've got joining nights coming up. So, the seeds are planted. Now we just need to bring in the harvest. Hopefully.
There you go. And I mean, you have a lot of cool programs for these kids.
We do. Cub Scouting is a home and family kind of centered program. Its motto is focused around do your best. But again, it focuses on the Scout Oath and Law. It's a lot of great fun family kinds of activities, great way to socialize with kids. As they get a little older, kind of into the 6th grade middle school year, they transition into what we think of as our traditional Scout program, which is where they go on their trail to Eagle Scout. It's a lot more the outdoor high adventure stuff there.
But I'm sure a lot of the kids like that.
They do. I think the most important thing is that's where, as opposed to Cub Scouts, where it's the parents and the family kind of running the program for the kids, as they get in the Scouts, the kids run the program, and they take turns being the leader of the program, and they work through something called the patrol method. So, all right, you want to go on a trip to wherever, what are the things that we need to do? And somebody is the captain of the ship, the patrol leader, which rotates, every couple of months. Somebody else comes in, and somebody else is the quartermaster who's responsible for maybe planning the menus and making sure all the gear is available and stuff. And again, they do take kind of ownership of the program themselves, and that's what instills that character, leadership, and positive achievement that we strive for.
And again, I think that starts to get them set up for leadership when they get to college and into the job world, into the workforce.
People, I get asked a lot, especially with the number of Eagle Scout presentations and things that I kind of do and said, what is it about scouting? A lot of people thinking of a brand, it's a recognizable brand, and people, know what a scout is. They joke about, oh, you're such a Boy Scout.
Yep.
But somebody says, but what is it? And then what makes an Eagle Scout stand head and shoulders above that? And I think as far as the scouting thing in general goes, many people have heard of kind of the scout oath and law, and they stand up, every week at the troop meetings or at summer camp. It's probably a couple times a day, and they talk about doing their duty to God and their country and helping other people at all times, and living a life of character, integrity, and trustworthy and loyal. You can't do that once a week for half a dozen years, whether your little brother was an Eagle Scout or not. He can't say that for a dozen or more years or half a dozen years without that forming some part of their character and some template for how they want to live their lives. I think what makes an Eagle Scout stand above those people, honestly, is the ability to manage multiple projects. That an Eagle Scout candidate has to go through 20-some-odd merit badges. There's a whole leadership project, all these different things that they got to do in scouting. But at the same time, they have a full course load at school. They almost always have a part-time job. They're always involved in one or two other activities, whether it's athletics or the band.
But that's how they become leaders in business.
So, but that's exactly. So an Eagle Scout is somebody, and to use a business thing like a project management background, but somebody who's able to manage multiple priorities, all of which are important. We didn't even get into the boyfriend-girlfriend thing, but that's a whole nother dynamic they've got. And are able to give each of them their due in turn and still get the job done. So I think that's why that's only 4% of the scouts.
Only 4% of scouts?
Actually, it may be a little higher, maybe 5.
All right, 5% of scouts. So of those 2,500, only 5% of those guys are going to become Eagle Scouts.
And a couple of extremely well-qualified young ladies.
And qualified young ladies.
Yes.
Now, what percentage of scouts now are, when I said guys, I meant it in
Yeah, I know you.
Yeah, but what I know that girls have become part of the scouting organization. Approximately what percent, nationwide or New Jersey wide?
I'm going to guess these might not be entirely accurate, but I'd say nationwide it's probably 10%. Here at the Jersey Shore, it's actually a little higher. We're over 12 at the moment, which is
so
great.
So 12% of your 2,500 are young females
and growing, especially at the younger kid level. And again, because it's about how do you provide a program for the whole family.
That's interesting that about the whole family being part of the program, because again, people are so busy. People are running from here to there to the soccer game to to everywhere that they need to be. So sometimes it's helpful if the whole family could do an activity. Yeah,
and it's funny. We got some things early on when we opened up the program officially to young ladies in Cub Scouting, I believe it was 2019. They had talked about it for a number of years beforehand, and national organization was looking at, as they looked at institutions, not just scouting, but church membership, Rotary Club membership, VFW, all these different institutions, or a lot of them, membership was declining and they went back to Watergate, Vietnam, and ever since then there's been a slow, steady, and the groups that were doing well in bucking that trend were organizations like, let's say, certain churches where they could bring the whole family together. Maybe they're doing different activities, there's a men's group, a ladies auxiliary, choir practice, what have you, but they come together afterwards for a meal. And the whole family's together. The 4-H is another great example of that, I think, where they have programs that are open to the whole family. One person may be doing something in animal husbandry, another person in gardening, but then they come together. So
makes sense.
What is there? And I think that's where scouting was, how do we, given the limited time, as you said, the families have now, how do we make this as easy and as comfortable as we can for families?
Well, it sounds like it's working. If 14% of your base is now
and growing,
scouts.
So I think that's going to be a fantastic a growth for us in one of our programs. And like I said, the Cubs Camp program all together is growing.
Perfect. So I love to see the growth. And so now, where do you see it going on the Jersey Shore? How do you get involved in Monmouth? How do you, I'm sure there's something going on there.
So the best way for families to get involved, if you're interested, and I can't say enough about it, for kids, boys or girls from kindergarten up through their 21st birthday, there are programs to teach kids about character, leadership, positive achievement, socialize with like-minded families. Your best bet is Be a Scout, BEA Scout. .org, and you can put in your address. It actually uses Google Maps to tell you here are the programs in your area.
That's cool.
And they have a pin where they say, hey, we meet on Tuesday nights, here's the basic information, or they can reach out directly to us at the Jersey Shore Scouts.
And now within Jersey Shore Scouts, how many chapters or troops do you have?
So we have probably around 140, 150 split up between Ocean and Atlantic County, and growing. There was some truncation during COVID, so we kind of consolidated some, and now we're trying to expand to say, hey, our goal is to get a group of kids from every elementary school into a pack, this fall. So
that's awesome. So now as you continue to do your business, do you see a synergy in trying to maybe work together with Monmouth?
We actually, it's ironic that you kind of mentioned that. We did actually on just this past Friday have announced an intention, the Monmouth Council of the Scouts and the Jersey Shore Council, to form what they call a merger subcommittee, which means that they're going to be looking at, does it make sense for our two organizations to maybe, by merging their operations together, do you eliminate redundancies? Can you streamline operations, which keeps costs down maybe for families, and improve the quality of program? So it's early days.
Give them potentially more.
There's a lot to be said for the Monmouth Council has two outstanding camps, one in New York called Forestburg, and then one just in Monroe Township for Cubs called Quail Hill Scout Reservation, which is fantastic. And we, of course, Jersey Shore operates the Joseph A. Sitta Scout Reservation in Barnegat. Of course, I have a little bias to that one, but it is fantastic. It gets used year-round, and there are opportunities. We have a wonderful shooting sports program there that has cowboy action shooting stations that looks like they use the old Henry kind of repeating rifles.
That's cool.
And there's they've got revolvers with 22 bullets, even a shotgun that knocks something up in the air and the kids can shoot at it.
Oh, wow.
It's got a whole story around it, like a Black Bart kind of Christmas story thing to it. But the Monmouth Council can't do that because their camp is in Forestburg and the gun laws are different in New York.
Yep.
So they're able to use it here. So I think there's a lot of program synergies. In addition to the nuts and bolts that all your business watchers would realize, that if you can bring organizations together.
Where are the cost savings?
Where are their synergies? Where are their opportunities?
Where are their opportunities and where are the expansion and stuff like that?
Yeah. So, there's a lot of upshot. It is still early days. It's a volunteer, as we do with the Scouts. The volunteers are the ones who kind of run that process. And ultimately, they all have a vote, all the different units that we have. Like I mentioned, that 150 or so, they each have a representative who would have a vote in that process. But I think it's something that offers a lot of opportunities for both organizations.
Now, I know when you talk about the Eagle Scout is this, the highest level of scouting, right? And 5%, are achieving Eagle Scout. And I think it's a hard process. I know I was never a scout myself. I did it for maybe a year because my brother did it and I wanted to go to a couple things, and I did it. But then, it wasn't my cup of tea at the time. But my brother got to the second to top level. He was, I think, a life scout.
Yes.
All right. And then he didn't finish, but I think it's because life got in the way. But there's a discipline to that.
And that's why I said about the Eagle Scout that there is, that not to knock your brother or anybody else. I had one of my first scoutmasters when I started this job 30 years ago said, kids, they got to get their Eagle Scout by the time they're 17. The fumes will kill them. I'm like, the fumes? He said, gasoline and perfume will knock a kid out of his Eagle Scout, blah, blah, blah. they get involved in different stuff, sports,
Yeah,
cars,
but
what
I think
have
that
you.
that's actually true.
So the studies tell us, though, including some done by Tufts University and some others, that kids who are involved in scouting for 5 years or longer at any level. So if you start at Cub Scouts and go through, and you just stay in Cub Scouts, or maybe you go through and you get to Life Scout but not Eagle, the kids who do that are reported to have higher household incomes, more likely to go on to college and graduate from college. They've got more stable family lives. They're more active in their church. The list goes on and on and on. So the outcomes, the positive achievement, leadership, character, whether or not you get that Eagle Scout award, the benefits of being in scouting, and like I said, duty to God, country, help other people, trustworthy, loyal. If you can kind of focus on that for 5 years, even if it's playing in the background of your head, it's going to make it's going to make better leaders, better families, better communities, and Lord knows, I think that's something we all need.
Definitely, and I think that though, even the guys that get not that life is bad, but the guys that get the Eagle, I think that they probably index higher in CEO type jobs.
No, I have as many people, it's funny, tell me about their Life Scout and why they couldn't get Eagle or what happened to them getting Eagle. As people come through and say, oh, I'm an Eagle Scout,
Yeah.
and because they know.
Are you an Eagle Scout?
I am. I got it. And to be fair.
Did you get it after, did you get it like when you were 17, 18,
so
or did you
I did,
get it when
no,
you became the
I
CEO
think
of the
the
organization?
other thing, and I should say because this is true, the other thing that separates Eagle Scouts from probably the rest of Scouts is in any Eagle Scout family, there is at least one parent who had their foot firmly planted somewhere to say that recognized the importance and said, and I was definitely in that camp. I think I was in it, got it when I was a kid. My father, God bless him, was the coach of every team I was ever on. And as a result, I always had to do extra laps. I was always the coach's kid. I was always, we went on a father-son camping trip when I was like 11 years old. And, man, he hated it. He slept on a rock. It was crappy coffee. Forgive me. The leader snored, what have you. It just wasn't for him. So for me, I said, man, this is cool. I can do something. He was always engaged. He was always involved as a parent, but it wasn't specifically his thing. And I think that gave me an opportunity to really go on and become a leader kind of in my own right. So.
That's great. So you are an Eagle Scout?
So I am, yeah. But when I got up to the line, I went to summer camp, and I enjoyed doing that thing. Became a staff leader on summer camp, so I wasn't as focused on the badges. And my dad, who was a history teacher, I think those were the last badge or two that I'd done everything else. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And it just became, hey, can we close this out? And I know one scoutmaster used to say he told the kids, he told his kids, you want your driver's license? I want an Eagle Scout application.
That's great.
Carrot and stick it.
That's fantastic. So, wow. So that's awesome. So now, where do you see Scouts going in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think scouting is growing and rebuilding. We have never been more inclusive or more open to families to participate than we ever have. I think, like I said, we see the Cub Scouts are already starting to grow, and we talked a little offline. If there's 2,500 kids, we start with the most of them in the Cub Scout thing, and then they funnel down to that 5% who become Eagle Scouts. Yep. So we really see the top of the funnel growing and it kind of translating down. I think scouting has never been more relevant. One of our jobs is how do we kind of keep that program relevant? Let me give you an example. Take a guess. What do you think? Scouting was founded in 1910. What was the number one merit badge that kids had to learn in 1910? Every kid learned.
I have no idea.
That's why I'm putting you on the spot.
I don't know. I don't even know. I don't have.
So
have an
usually
answer
I
that
get
comes-
things like first aid or camping or something or comment. And yeah, they did that. Believe it or not, the number one merit badge in 1910 was blacksmithing.
Wow.
Because in 1910, every young man needed to know how to shoe a horse. Barely had cars.
Sure.
I don't know. Who knows if these things are going to stick around? A horse, I got to know how to work.
Yeah.
Guess what it is today? It's actually tied as of last year, I think. Robotics and game design.
Wow, no
are
way.
the two. Now, those aren't Eagle required merit badges, but those are two of the
Robotics,
most
huh?
popular. So how do we keep kids recognizing that we are a program that was founded around campfires and pocket knives? And don't get me wrong, those are still great gets, especially for a certain percentage
Yeah.
of the youth population. But for some of them, it's engineering. For some of them, it's science related things. So how are we have 130 some odd merit badges
So you have
or
to
kind
stay
of
up
skill
in the
things.
times. So like you probably should think about an AI merit badge.
I think that's scary. But yeah, no, I think you're right. They probably do. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of those game design badges start incorporating elements
Yeah.
of that into it. So it's how do you stay relevant
But if
for
you
the
could,
kids?
but that's interesting to the kids. So if something could come with that, you know, I think that there's some value because that'll keep them wanting to be.
And we have some groups, I think you know the Townsend family, right? Jerome and Melissa
Mhm,
Townsend.
yeah.
So they run a group for high school age boys and girls called the Venturing Program, which has a STEM focus. I have one or two troops that have. They do some of the outdoors and camping. In fact, their group does a lot of it. But it's all science related things and technology related things, and they have their focus, and they're doing rocket launches and all kinds of other projects
cool,
and
though.
experiments because that's what's engaging this group of kids.
Yeah.
So how do we provide a framework to teach them? Again, it's character, leadership, and positive achievement. There's lots of ways to go about getting there with kids. How do we stay open to keeping relevant in that? And
I love it.
You know,
It's pretty cool. So you have a lot going on.
It is. This year, like I said, for this time of year is the big fall membership push. We're getting planned. We've got a thing that's open to the public, actually, in October. I believe it's the 24th and 25th at the City Scout Reservation in Barnegat. We do a thing called Operation Halloween, and it's open to the public. And they have a thing for little kids that are during the afternoon. It's called Pumpkin Street. We've got hay mazes the kids can run through. There's face painting. There's all kinds of activities. Of course, the obligatory funnel cake and all that stuff that people
How
are
could you go
pushing.
wrong with that?
But they've got music that's there. They've got a hayride, and then as it gets darker, when the sun goes down, they have this thing. I forget if they're still calling it the zombie apocalypse, but it's a haunted trail through camp. People come out, and actually, if you're interested, you can help do scares there that weekend.
20 years ago when I was in college, I went on a haunted hayride. It involved alcohol and it involved a hayride, but it was like,
this was no alcohol.
this was
Please
a little
don't bring
crazy.
alcohol.
Don't
to
bring
scout
alcohol.
camp. No alcohol
I'm
in
talking about
scout
something
camp.
25 years ago.
But-
It was fun. I had a great time. But yeah.
But it is, and a lot of the kids and leaders do the trails. The funds go to help support not just scouting; it's really run in conjunction with the Southern Ocean Rotary Club, and all the proceeds that they get from it, they distribute to other organizations
Great.
throughout the community. So it really is. But it's a chance. We get about 1,000 people, sometimes more, weather dependent, but that'll come through the camp just on that weekend to participate. So if you want to see a little bit of what scouting's about, or if you're just a Halloween crazy, October 24th and 25th. Come on
Perfect.
out.
Well, this is great. I'm glad that you came on. I'm glad that
Yeah,
you got
thank
to
you
get
for
to
having me.
the Grit Won't Quit podcast. As we wrap up today, let people know where they can find you. I mean, tell them about the website, any social media, so that anybody that's interested, if for children of theirs in the community, in the Ocean County community, how do they find
So
you?
to learn more about us, the Jersey Shore Council, it's pretty easy. It's all one word. It's JerseyShoreScouts.org.
Jersey Shore
Shore
Scouts with an S.
.org. And if you're interested in like that Operation Halloween, there's a search thing. Just type it in. It should go, but there's information on memberships, program activities we've got coming up. If you're just looking to join scouting or get your kid involved in scouting and find a local place, again, that's Be a Scout, BEA Scout.org.
Andrew,
And
make
that'll
sure you put
use-
those all in the comments
Yeah.
so that anybody wants to click through, it's easier. But I mean, beascout.org. I mean, it couldn't be easier.
No,
They got
that's
a great
hopeful,
domain.
yeah. And reach out again. We're the Jersey Shore Council Scouts. It's Scouting America now.
Awesome. Jim, this was great. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for
Thanks
having
for
me, Tom.
educating
Yeah.
everybody about this, and I'm glad to see that it's on the uptick, and you've
Yeah.
bucked the trend. And
No, it's
keep going.
future's looking very bright, and we're excited about the next 115 years of
Let
scouting.
me know if Wingman could do anything to help you guys.
I hope so. Actually, I'd love to. I know you guys do a lot this fall with food collection drives and things like that. Our annual scouting for food effort is a huge thing every year, and we'd like to. Although me personally, I know that you guys do through Wingman Planning, so would love to promote that effort with our local units, and certainly count on me and Becky. Would like to sponsor 3 families.
Awesome.
For you guys this
You're the
year.
man.
So
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks again for coming on. This was great, and we'll talk soon.
fantastic. Thank you for having me.
You bet.
Bye bye.